Hello, everyone. This is Sharonda, and this is my podcast as well as my Facebook channel, Facebook and YouTube channel, Spiritual Sense. Today is Sunday, July the 14th. And so, in this podcast, as well as podcast as well as YouTube channel, go over topics involving the paranormal, occult, supernatural, and spirituality. I like to stress that this podcast and YouTube channel is for entertainment, informational, and sometimes educational purposes. It just depends on which episode you listen to or what podcast you may listen to. I do have a total of five on Spreaker.com, which is my podcast platform. So I am going to go into the topic for today. What is a medium versus a psychic? So I got the inclination about some 9 months now to coin the title of Magic Mind Medium. Magic Mind Medium, that what came to mind as to what I should refer to myself as. And what does that mean? Well, we know what magic is. We know magic is based on um well, I tell you what, I'm going to read the definition of magic. That's what I'm going to do. So, what is magic? Magic, as defined, is an ancient practice rooted in rituals, spiritual divinations, and or cultural lineage with the intention to invoke, manipulate, or otherwise manifest supernatural forces, beings, or entities in the natural world. Is what it mentions here. So that's what magic is. It's a use of potions and rituals, spells, and things of that sort. That's basically what magic is. You know what mind is, your mind, your intellect, your thought process. A medium. So, what is a medium versus a psychic? Well, a medium is said to have psychic abilities, but not all psychics functions as mediums. The term clairvoyance, for instance, may include seeing spirits and visions instilled by the spirit world. The parapsychological association defines clairvoyance as information derived directly from an external physical source. So, that being said, I'm going to go to mediumship by way of Wikipedia. Mediumship, give me just a moment. So, mediumship is a pseudo-scientific practice of mediating communications between familiar spirits or spirits of the dead and living human beings. Practitioners are known as mediums or spirit mediums. There are different types of mediumships or spirit channeling, including seance tables, trance, and Ouija. The practice is associated with spiritualism and spiritism. A similar New Age practice is known as channeling. So it mentions a belief in psychic ability is widespread despite the absence of empirical evidence for its existence. Scientific researchers have attempted to ascertain the validity of claims of mediumship for more than 100,000 years, 100 years, and have consistently failed to confirm them. So, um, to be a medium, you do possess certain capabilities and whatnot. Um, it mentions that there are different forms of medium. You have uh, mental and physical. Mental mediums purportedly tune into the spirit world by listening, sensing, or seeing spirits or symbols. So I'm like that. Physical mediums, it mentions, are believed to produce the materialization of spirits, apparitions of objects, and other effects such as knocking, rapping, bell ringing by using ectoplasm created from the cells of their bodies and those of seance attendees, according to what's here. I would be considered more or less a mental medium, which this is my first time even hearing something of the sort. Um, am I able to exude ectoplasm and all of that? I personally can tell you that I can see auras on people. Have I seen ectoplasm once or twice in my life? I have. I have. I'm not going to say this is something that is consistent or common with me. I'm not going to say that, I possess capabilities that I don't, because I do believe it is a tricking of the spirits to show you deception, and when someone is lying or possess a poltergeist like spirit, if that makes any sense to anybody. Okay. So it goes on to mention that mediumship became popular in the 19th century in the United States with the rise of spiritualism as a religious movement. It's said to date back, uh, in New York in the mid 1800s. So I'm not going to read a lot of this information because it is very extensive. I mean, I don't have any way of knowing if a lot of the information is accurate or whatever the case may be. But what I will tell you is, over the course of my life, I have read some books, I have some things to transpire with me to where I began to look for answers. And I gravitated to a lot of this information, and I began to see things differently, apparently, than others. I feel, um, and I began to question my own sanity, my own intellect as to what that was. Um, so I do believe God does have a way of letting us know when we have discernment, when he will put something up on display, and it's like a critical thinking piece. Critical thinking. What do you think this is? Okay. So I'm going to go a little bit into the different mediumships, and then I'm going to proceed to pull up some information about what about psychic and what exactly a psychic is. I think psychic, just in reading this, is more or less limited. Like it's a form of capability, whereas a medium has a little bit more ability. Mental mediumship is communication of spirits with the medium by telepathy. The medium mentally hears clairaudience, sees clairvoyance, and feels clairsentience messages from spirits directly or with the help of a spirit guide. The medium passes the information on to the messages recipients. When a medium is doing a reading for a particular person, that person is known as a sitter, is what it mentions here. It mentions about trans mediumship in 1860 and 1870s. Trans mediums, also known as trans speakers, were very popular. This allowed female adherents, many who had strong interest in social justice, to speak in public, and in an era where doing so went against existing social norms. Many trans mediums delivered passionate speeches such as um, the abolition movement, I guess, temperance, and women's suffrage. Scholars have described the most famous of these mediums in history in spiritualism. I'm gonna try to stay from reading names So I guess in essence, what it's saying is that God will put them in motion to where you would know, okay, this one here can and has been qualified to speak to those who are Nimrod and are so quick to jump because of a preconceived prejudice or notion. Physical mediumship is defined as manipulation of energies and energy systems by spirits. This type of mediumship is said to involve perceptible manifestations such as loud raps and noises, voices, materialized objects, airports, materialized spirit bodies, or parts such as hands, legs, and feet. The medium is used as a source of power for such spirit manifestation. By some accounts, this was achieved by using the energy or ectoplasm released by a medium. So, most physical mediumship is presented in a darkened or dimly lit room. Most physical mediums may you make use of traditional array of tools and apparatuses, including appurtenances, including spirit trumpets, spirit cabinets, and levitation tables. Do you believe in things such as this? Do you believe that these things occur? I do. I do. Now, it mentions about direct voice. Direct voice communication refers to the hypothesis that spirits speak independently of the medium, who facilitates the phenomenon rather than produces it. The role of the medium is to make the connection between the physical and spirit worlds. Trumpets are often utilized to amplify the signal, and directed voice mediums are sometimes known as trumpet mediums. Now, I've never heard of this before, but I'm going to read it. This form of mediumship also permits the medium to participate in the discourse during seances, since the medium's voice is not required by the spirit to communicate. So, again, when I mention about spirits, you will begin to see how certain energies, when they think that the information, when they think you are stupid, they will begin to come out of character. You will be very surprised as to how people come out of character when you don't feel and think how they feel and think. And this is the testing of the spirit, plain and simple. The logic and the reasoning is out the door. So you do have the different clairs. I'm not going to go into the different clairs. I have done a presentation about the different clairs. God is giving it a synopsis about something that's to the side. So of course I don't believe everything that presents to me. I don't. Okay. So let's get psychic. God gave me an inner knowing as to what psychic really means as well. But I keep that to myself because I don't want any, people feeling as though I am male bashing and, causing an uproar or whatever. So a psychic is a person who claims to use powers rooted in parapsychology, such as extrasensory perception, to identify information hidden from normal senses, particularly involving telepathy or clairvoyance, or who performs acts that are apparently inexplicable by natural laws, such as psychokinesis or teleportation. So basically, to me, it seems as though it's one in the same. You could be a medium with psychic abilities, um, relating to or denoting faculties or phenomena that are apparently inexplicable by natural laws, especially involving telepathy, clairvoyance. It mentions relating to the soul or mind. This is the definition as defined as to what a psychic is versus a medium. So I am going to tell you that it's essentially one and the same. Now, to get a little bit more clarity, um, to get a little more clarity as to why I chose to, and this is not going to be a long podcast. We are at 15 minutes to get a little bit more clarity to those who are out there. I think it's all based on how it sounds and how it looks. Because if you tell somebody you're a psychic, the first thing they're going to do is say you think that you're crazy or you're a fraud and you're trying to manipulate them to get some money. But if you say medium, it sounds a little bit more, I guess, eloquent, if that makes any sense to anybody. Now, what if I tell you that I'm a prophet or prophetess? So I honestly feel as though it's just a play on word and wording. What would be appropriate? Why you have so many different words that mean the same thing? It's more or less a synonym. It's all one and the same, to be honest with you. It's basically one and the same. But some people don't like to hear caramel, so some people say caramel. Some people don't like to hear tomatoes, so some people say tomato, potato. It's just all based on how people, it's basically one and the same. And as I mentioned, we all have these capabilities. I think um, to be gifted in it is a difference. Simply by paying attention is what I feel. If you simply pay attention and take note of how things convey to you, we all possess these gifts. Some people may just choose to say, you know what, I don't want to partake in that. I don't want. It's too much. They become very sensitive. I mean, I honestly just put it this way. Do I feel as though some of the capabilities have been exaggerated? I do. I do. Um, I think we all can give a prophetic word. I think we all possess psychic ability. I'm not saying anything negative against people who are quote psychic or mediums or whatever the case may be. No, but I do believe that once you have accepted that existence into your life, that you are, God will download information to you. You'll have a higher sensibility about things that you haven't even thought about. I do believe that. And He does allow these things to happen. He does. I do. So I am going to go ahead. I'm going to conclude this episode of Spiritual Sense, speaking about um, what is a psychic, what is a medium, what are the difference in the two. They're ultimately the same thing. It's just basically, some people may not like to hear psychic. It don't sound right. So call me a medium. I call myself Magic Mind Medium because I feel as though with me wanting to be a psychologist at one point in time when I was in high school, and with an interest in um, normal or parapsychology, I think one thing will tell on to the next, and I think it's a coding in the language, if that makes any sense to anybody. Okay, so until then, you have a safe and wonderful day. Good day.